Right now at noon, court documents released about the man who shot his dog in the head with the arrow.
And we've got a very cloudy day for a good chunk of us now that the rain is cleared out. We'll talk about what the rain left behind and whether or not it's going to warm up again coming up.
And the fragile 6.5-foot ancient throne known as the coronation chair is getting a makeover.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
More details released into the animal abuse case in Knoll, Missouri. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Carrie Worthen. Authorities still searching for a suspect charged with animal abuse after a dog was found with the arrow through its head. According to the court documents on February 28th, a neighbor confronted Jeffrey Howard about the dog walking around with the arrow. The neighborhood told Howard she knew he shot the dog and needed to tell the truth. Howard allegedly admitted to shooting the dog with an arrow after it would not come to him for food. Howard also said he planned to shoot the dog again because she was still alive, but the mailman arrived. A Southeast Kansas man is sentenced for Medicaid fraud charge. William Carl Morris is the second of Altamont was sentenced. One court submitting a false claim. He ordered to repay the Medicare program more than $1,200 after pleading guilty. Investigators determined that Morris submitted false claims that he was providing personal care attendant services to his mother, a Medicaid beneficiary. Morris said the dates he allegedly provided services, but it was determined his mother was in fact another city at the alleged time. Now go to Chris Warner with a first look at the weather.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain across the area and it's now exited the region. It's still left behind wet roads and very cloudy skies for a good chunk of us. However, some of us out in southeast Kansas starting to get a little bit of that clearing in, and that's why some of us today are actually going to be a little warmer than the majority of us. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline. Roads obviously still wet. Rain just exiting. Still cloudy skies out there. And here's a look at where that rain is. It's now just a tiny amount out there. The big batch now well off to our east, but it has left behind some flooding concerns. We've got a flood advisory in Delaware County that runs through 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. We've got aerial flood warnings for Berry and Lawrence counties that run through at least 4 this evening. So remember, turn around, don't drown. If you know that your commute is going to take you through a flood-prone area, plan an alternate route for your drive this evening. All right, yesterday started at 38, made it to 53, much closer to our normals, a little above, a little below, but almost right on track. As we are right now, again, out to the west where there's been a little more clearing, it's a pinch warmer, 48 Yates Center, Sedan, 45 in Neodesha, 45 Parsons. You head further east where those clouds are still keeping us cool. We have 41s in Pittsburgh, Fort Scott, Nevada, Lamar, Stockton, Miami, Grove, Anderson, Neosho, and of course it is 41 in Joplin right now. Here's a look at what we're still keeping an eye on. These cloudy skies for the rest of us will begin to clear later this afternoon. We are obviously much cooler today, and there's good news. We'll start warming up heading into the upcoming weekend. We'll take a look at your full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Carrie?
Thanks, Chris. It was 1 month ago that a freight train derailed and spilled toxic chemicals in East Palestine, Ohio. At a public meeting last night, people from the town confronted the railroad's operator. Understandably, as Roxana Siberi reports, it got heated at times.
I'm stuck. No one's coming to save us.
With pleas for help.
I'm begging you, by the grace of God, please get our people out of here. Yes!
And stories of illness.
Kids vomiting, nosebleeds, numbness in their mouth, numbness in their fingers.
Around 200 residents in East Palestine directly confronted a representative of Norfolk Southern for the first time last night at a public meeting erupting with frustration and anger.
We're going to clean up the site. But we are sorry, and we do care. Yeah. We do.
Just days after the disaster, Melissa Blake told us she was diagnosed with bronchitis due to chemical fumes.
How are you feeling now?
Same.
What are you scared of?
Get more sick.
Under pressure from residents, the EPA has now ordered Norfolk Southern to test the derailment site for dioxins, toxic chemical compounds that can cause cancer.
EPA monitors have not detected any volatile organic compounds above levels of health concern in the community.
So far, crews there have shipped more than 2 million gallons of liquid wastewater and about 1,400 tons of solid waste to 7 disposal sites in 4 states. Among them is one just south of the disaster zone in East Liverpool, Ohio. Many here say they don't want the hazardous waste either.
So you're worried that this drinking water from this river will be contaminated?
Yeah, that's my biggest concern. We already know that it created a huge problem in East Palestine.
Roxana Saberi, CBS News, East Palestine, Ohio.
The EPA says it could take about 3 weeks to finish collecting data to see if there are any dioxins at the derailment site. But the EPA officials say early testing data suggests there are low probability of dioxins contamination. The Health Ethics Committee has launched an investigation of Congressman George Santos. The Republican from Long Island admits lying about his resume and family history, but says he won't resign. There is a list of complaints against Congressman Santos, which the House Ethics Panel will now investigate. They include whether Santos engaged in unlawful activity during his 2022 congressional campaign, and if he failed to properly disclose required information on statements filed with the House of Representatives. It will also probe if he violated federal conflict of interest laws and look into an accusation he engaged in sexual misconduct towards individuals seeking employment in his congressional office. Santos responded on Twitter saying he is fully cooperate with the Ethics Committee and will have no further comment. It's all hands on deck as the United Kingdom prepares for the coronation of King Charles III. And it turns out some of the royal relics need a little TLC before the big day. CBS's Ian Lee has story from London.
The ancient throne of British kings and queens has had better days. Conservator Krista Blesley has been tasked with the medieval makeover.
So a lot of my work at the moment is sticking those layers of gilding back down and making sure it's completely sound before the coronation.
The 6.5-foot throne has been a centerpiece for English coronations for centuries, after being built in 1309.
It's been used for every coronation of an English monarch, with a few exceptions since then.
The restoration is just a small part of the preparations for King Charles' coronation ceremony here at Westminster Abbey, now just 2 months away. The late Queen Elizabeth II was the last person to use the chair in 1953, but back then, the world watched in black and white. So Krista wants to make sure the throne's colors shine through.
So there's birds, there's figures of saints and kings. It really is an exquisite example of the quality of craftsmanship that doesn't survive anymore.
The historic chair has survived schoolboy graffiti and even a bombing. When finished, the royal restoration will be Krista's crowning achievement.
I'm going to feel relieved when it's over and everything is still where it should be.
So her work for king and country survives for centuries to come. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
The coronation for King Charles on May 6th is expected to be shorter and more exclusive service than the 1953, with about 2,000 guests rather than the 8,000 who attended the late Queen's ceremony. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on the KOAM News at noon, battery-powered cars are more popular than ever, and now boats are getting on board. And later, we're making skillet Parmesan pork in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Battery-powered cars are more popular than ever, and now boats are getting on board. Dina Demetrius shows us how electric watercrafts are sailing towards the future.
Rising above the waters of San Francisco Bay, these electric hydrofoil speedboats make for smooth sailing.
Not only is electric, you're gliding above the water, so there is no seasickness. You don't feel the waves. It's like you're on a jet plane.
Two companies, American Navier and Swedish Candela, are leading the charge to bring electric hydrofoil speedboats to city waterways, aiming to replace gas-guzzling water taxis with these electric hover wonders.
It's like 10x cheaper than using a gas boat, so you can use it as a scalable waterborne transportation. It unlocks a potential, a new form of transportation that was never ever possible before.
But these watercraft meet bumpy seas on two issues: limited range, and cost around $400,000.
Just the amount of energy that it takes to move a boat through the water and to propel a boat through a water requires a lot of batteries. As you add more batteries, you add costs. It gets worse the larger the boat gets.
Still, Candela says it's already sold and manufactured 150 of its new C8 model.
This boat is the future of leisure boating.
It comes with some creature comforts too.
You can spend the night here if you like. It's cozy and protected.
The company also has more impactful goals on board.
The mission at Candela is really to create a big impact and reduce as much the CO2 emission.
Candela is testing out its same technology on a 30-passenger catamaran as early as this summer. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If getting dinner on the table in about 10 minutes sounds too good to be true, pinch yourself, because today's one-pan wonder is just that.
And you may want to pinch yourself once you see what our temperatures are going to do this weekend. We're going to take a look at that forecast coming up. I had a lot of rainfall between yesterday and into the overnight and even this morning, but the good news is that rainfall is on its way out, but it has left behind some flooding concerns. So let's first take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker, and there you can see the satellite imagery. I wanted to throw this on here because I wanted to show you why. We've got some of our friends out to the west that are getting to be a little bit warmer than the rest of us are going to be today because they're getting in on some sunshine a little early. Here's a look at the rainfall around the region. You can also see where the heaviest rainfall managed to fall. In this red box, we averaged about 0.8 of an inch of rain. But down here where we have those flooding concerns, you can see where we picked up a lot more, on the order of almost about 4 inches, in some cases a little more than that. And so I wanted to break this down. For Lawrence County, this is an aerial flood warning that runs until 8 this evening. For Berry County, that flood warning runs until 4 this evening. And then in Delaware County, in the southeast corner of the county, we got a flood advisory that runs through 6. So lots of flooding concerns right in the same area. So as we mentioned earlier, turn around, don't drown. If you know your particular commute is going to take you through flood-prone areas, plan ahead, plan accordingly, take an alternate route. 7th and Rangeline in Joplin, cloudy skies, hence why we're not nearly as warm as some of our friends out west. Same at 20th and Rangeline, MoDOT camera there. Roads are still wet, so still some slick spots out there, but they will eventually dry out. We are sitting at 41, feeling like 33 right now, the northwest breeze at 15. Temperatures across the region look like this: 47 in Iola, 48 Yates Center and Sedan, 45 Neodesha and Parsons. So see out west where you're getting a little more of that sunshine, you can follow that cloud line. It's a little bit warmer, not by much, but it is warmer. Then you come out here under the clouds, 41s and plenty of them. Fort Scott, Nevada, Lamar, Pittsburgh, Carthage, Stockton, Neosho, Anderson, Miami, Grove, all sitting at 41 degrees right now. As we go through the rest of the afternoon, for those of us stuck under a little more cloud cover, we're going to make it up into the upper 40s. For those out to the west, you're probably going to peak into the lower 50s today. We'll eventually see that cloud cover continue to clear out as we head into the late evening hours. And as we go into our overnight, we should have mostly clear skies, although it is going to be a chilly one as we drop back down to an overnight low of 37. You can see we hit that and we just kind of parked there. We will stay nice heading into this weekend. So let's skip ahead to the 7-day forecast for you. Check out this upcoming weekend. 59 tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, up to 65 Sunday. Maybe some gusty winds, maybe a few extra clouds, but a beautiful weekend. In fact, it stays really nice heading even into Monday as we make it up to 71 under partly cloudy skies. And it'll be breezy to start our Monday, and then those winds will calm down. Unfortunately, following that, we get cold again compared to 71 degrees. Showers Tuesday, Wednesday, wintry mix possible by next Thursday, cold and cloudy Friday, and then more showers by next weekend. And take a look at those temperatures down there too. We go from 71 Monday to 55 on Tuesday, 50 Wednesday, then we're down into the lower to mid 40s to wrap up next week and head into next weekend. So by all means, if you have an opportunity to enjoy this upcoming weekend and maybe, you know, play a hooky from work or school on Monday, take that opportunity because it's going to get downright nasty again as we head into next week.
So you're saying if I need to call into work this weekend, it's all because of you?
I would say it's all because of Mother Nature. I can't advise that. I'm just simply saying take advantage of the weather while you can.
All right, thanks, Chris. Stick around. We're making skillet Parmesan pork after the break. Need a full of flavor pork tenderloin recipe that's also quick to get on the table? Look no further. Howard shows us how to make skillet Parmesan pork in the Mystery Food Test Kitchen.
If you're looking for ways to get dinner on the table fast, I mean really fast, nothing beats pan frying. What I like about pan frying is that it helps seal in the juices while allowing the outside of whatever you're cooking to get nice and crispy. To show you what I mean, we've got a tasty new dish for you to try tonight. We begin by cutting a pork tenderloin into chunks and then flattening them between a couple of pieces of wax paper or a plastic storage bag. Pounding these nice and thin will not only allow them to cook super fast, but it also creates more of a surface area, which is where all the flavor will be. Now we coat our cutlets with some Italian breadcrumbs that we mix with some Parmesan cheese and a bit of salt and pepper. After we cook down some onions and garlic in olive oil, we saute our cutlets in the same pan. The cutlets are going to absorb all that flavor from the onions and garlic while they cook. In less than 5 minutes, when the breading is golden and the pork is cooked through, it's ready to serve. And although this is crazy quick, don't think for a minute that it's going to lack flavor. No siree. It's just the opposite. These are amazing. To get the recipe for what we call our skillet Parmesan pork, all you have to do is visit our website. You know, this is really tasty. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a one-pan way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Now here's a look at our 4 state market prices.
All right, we're going to see some clouds clearing later, getting into the upper 40s, but we got a beautiful weekend, 59 Saturday, 65 Sunday, 71 Monday, before we see more showers, maybe even a wintry mix by the end of next week, and temperatures falling back to the 50s into the lower 40s.
You know what's coming up at 5?
Yes.
Well, at 5 this week is National Eating Disorders Awareness Week, and with cases on the rise, advocates say it's time for change. Plus, yesterday's severe storms caused hail damage in some areas of the 4 states. We're going to hear from our roofing company in Northeast Oklahoma, keeping busy with repairs. And dozens of band students show off their skills at the 49th Annual Pitt State Jazz Festival. Hope you'll join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's all coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.